Hello everybody, welcome back to Cockpit Drivers Championship. My name is Appy and I'll be on the commentary mic once more. And we are live here for round 7 of this 10-round championship. We're nearly at the end of the championship now, just 3 more rounds, including this one, or in fact, after this one, we're 6 rounds into the 7th one, and then we'll just have 3 rounds remaining before the end of the championship. We're here live for the Spanish Grand Prix, and tonight the driver attendance is very good as compared to last week, and we're just going to be getting started. 18 minutes of qualifying. 9 drivers are here at the moment. Somebody might join us later, so let's see what's going to be happening. Right into this qualifying session. Okay, we should have the Drivers' Championship actually for you guys before we get out on track, but unfortunately I don't have them today on screen. We should have them though. We should be getting them. We should be having them in Discord, and I'll read it out for you guys. There's a couple of guys out on the track. I'll just read it out for you guys. I didn't really actually didn't have enough time to put them in OBS, but as long as they're there, yes, they are there. So looking at this now in the Teams Championship, we're just going to round off that as we've got 9 teams. It is GSW who lead by 131 points, with LRT in 65 in second place. Third place is DRD with 61 points to their name. OGM with 50, 27 to BRT, just a point ahead of AMR, who are in on 26, with the BRT on 27. 20 points for KCD, while ERP on 12, while SMV are yet to score a point this season so far. Well, moving over to the Drivers' Championship, we've got 12 drivers in the championship, which looking at a couple of names, we might have a couple of more in the standings moving forward. So Gap Reaper still leads the championship ahead of everyone. In fact, he should have gotten the lead last week. Actually, he wasn't leading from a while. It was Felix who was leading. Felix is not to be found. He wasn't racing last time out. He isn't racing tonight, so that might help others around. So 93 points for Gap Reaper ahead of Felix with 91, and Scooters on 75, 2 ahead of Simpish, who's on 73, while Commander X is also on 71 in for 5th place, while Seppi in 6th is on 40 points, while Ferruki is on 34, Speeder is on 31, while Dree is on 18. Uzlara's got 3, while Fezel and Zaza are yet to score this point. Score a point this season so far. So now moving forward, let's get into the qualifying session right here. Let me just check the logos and everything are where they should be. And yes, indeed, they are. I should have this on. Yep, this is on as well. So now let's go. We should have drivers, and in fact, we already have drivers who have started their lap, and we already have Ferrio, who's about to get to the end of that middle sector, 51-2 from Ferrio. What about Debet and Seppi's on a flying lap as well? A couple of drivers on their flyer is Speeder or Commander X will be the first driver to go over the line. 16.1 to go over the line and get a time on the board for everybody else. Will Ferrier beat that up with him making it over the line? Yes, he will. 13.3. He does not think about it. No time, and beats it in a flash. What about Dre? He's just got over the line, hasn't got the time on the board. What about Seppi? He's definitely on a flyer right here. Does he come anywhere near closer? No, he does not. 121.2. That's not even possible. So definitely he might have made a mistake, or would have done a lap that he shouldn't have. Eventually, I'd say he probably would have done a mistake right there. Ferruki without a time on the board so far. Only 3 drivers who've put a time on the board right there. We are about to find out how fast and how quick will Ferruki be able to do here around there. He's coming around just around the final corner. 1:11 seconds he's already in. Will he be anywhere near the top 2? Yes, he will be, in fact, in P2. 1:14.846. That is a very decent time to get himself into P2. with Commander X 16.1. He definitely needs to improve, and I assume that he definitely will be improved, because 16.1, very low 116, so that easily allows him to go into the 115s, while Dree, who was just starting their lap previously, will finish their lap this time around 115.1. Should see them to be in P3. What about Seppi? Did not do a very good lap last time around. There's a yellow flag around here. Somebody's lost their car. Well, it'll be Seppi, who goes top of the timing charts into P2, sorry. That'll be 114.2 as well. So, well, Ferrio is ahead of everyone and leads it up. So far, out of the 5 drivers we've had set a time on the board, well, 4 are still remaining. Scooter is just starting their lap right now, while... Oh, Commander's got disqualified. Commander X has been disqualified in the session, and this would have been his yellow flag in the first sector into turn 1, and that might compromise a couple of drivers, other drivers' lap, which I don't think it will, though, because I'd assume they don't really need to slow down, but in case they do, they might have a bit of a compromise there, but I don't think they'll be slowing down, while Commander, it wouldn't be Commander actually, it would be Faruqi. He's currently in P3 so far, not on a fast flyer lap. Reaper still in the pits. It is Scooter, who's Diabet have just started their lap, while Scooter is in P8. Sorry, without a time actually, so we've now only got 9 drivers out there, as one of them has been disqualified, so he did have a time on the board. So it was 5 drivers with a time, but now it's only 4 with his disqualification. What about Scooter? He jumps up over to P2 and becomes your second driver to go into the 113s, and that is certainly a very good lap time, 113.669. Still about 3.5 tenths slower than Ferrio, but now that at least makes it interesting and gets them closer to these lines especially, and that would easily allow on what to do and what not. Alright, Commander has been disqualified, and definitely they basically you get disqualified for a couple of reasons. And one of them is, obviously, if you try and go reverse, and if you try and drive the wrong way, we're not allowed, which obviously in qualifying, you're not even allowed to do that in free practice, so forget about doing it in qualifying. Right there, which eventually becomes a reason of you not being able to complete a lap, while Diabet will go over the line, 115.8. That lap would have kept them where they are without a time at the moment in P6, but they've invalidated, so I'd assume they would have saved enough battery for them to go again, and by the looks of it, yes, they are going again. They're running a little bit wide, but we'll be back on power into 6th gear, up on the exit of the right-hander there. We'll still stay in 7, would not go, in fact, they do go in 8. That was a pretty quick 8th gear shift, which I would have assumed they would not go in, but they certainly decided to do so, but they'll be back into 6th, downshift into 4th, 3rd, 2nd. We'll get back on power into 3rd for the shot shifting a lot, but what I didn't understand, yep, they went from 6th to 7th. Actually, unless we haven't got the correct telemetry here, because sometimes this telemetry and the one on the wheel works pretty differently, so maybe, no, I think by the looks of it, they are using overtake. They've got no fuel, so what I wouldn't understand is, even if they go over the line, how would they come back into the pits, unless they'd have to tumble down into the pits very slow. Well, Faruqi has decided to come into the pits right there. What about Diabet, who couldn't go over the line last time out? Do they go over the line this time? Yes, they do. Last time out, it was invalidated lap. This time it will be valid, but how fast will this be? 113.9, and that has to be a very rapid lap time there. And now you know that previous lap from them possibly wouldn't have been a a mistake invalidation. It might have been a deliberate invalidation, which obviously drivers do sometimes, being on the prep laps or out laps to take it slow, take it easy, and as soon as there is a chance and opportunity for them to go again, or just mostly they do is just warm their tires up and bring them in the best of conditions for them to go again. Right now we've had somebody go over the line. That is Gap Reaper, your championship leader right there. They'll be starting their lap. Let's go on board with Reaper. Downshift up to 4th, into 3rd, into the first 2 corners, back to 4th, 5th, and they'll still stay in 5th into the right-hander exit and on to 6th now. Oh, what's happening there? What has happened there? They've just lost the car. I think there was a bit of a lag there, but they must have had oversteer and straight lost it around, because that corner is very tricky and it's so super easy to you lose your car, especially around there. I think they're lucky. They're very lucky to not go in the wall and lose their suspension or get out of qualifying here. That could have been pretty nasty, but I think they've taken good control and good care of that. While Dabed would come into the pits, Ferrio is out on a lap right there. They're currently still on pole, and they'd only move further away from the rest of the drivers. Are they going to be successful in doing so? Over to the finish line, they might be able to do it, and yes, they will be able to do it. 113.0. Somebody who would be on a flyer right now would have been only Ferrio, while Scooter is on an out lap. Couple of the drivers were more than halfway through into the qualifying session. Only 7.5 minutes now remain in the session so far. We'd pretty much only hear about from the drivers after the end of qualifying, so we'd only know what they're on to and what they're going to be trying to do. So at the end of the session rather than right now, well, Seppi is the driver who's on a flying lap right here. Reaper was on a lap, but obviously Reaper made a mistake. So they'd certainly will be starting once again, while Seppi is on a lap right there. They found about half a stint, I'd say, 500ths of a second in at the end of that first sector. How quick would this be at the end of the middle sector right there? Over 2:10s, that is decent enough to at least get them up over into P3. It should be the case, I'd say. As long as they're able to get into the 113s, they should be able to get into P3 as well, because Diabet is on 113.982 currently in the pit lane. No chance of them improving from behind, at least for the moment. Obviously, a lot of qualifying, a lot of the session is still remaining, but he just does enough to move over to P3. Into P13 it goes Seppi there. P3 goes 113.770 into the 113s. Moves does Seppi. 6.5 minutes still remain in the session. Dre will be the next car over the line, along with Scooter, I believe he should be. Yes, it is. It's going to be Dre first, Scooter second. Dre is improving by over 2:10s, but still stays in the 114s, 114.9. What about Scooter? He did find just a bit of a over about a 10th as well. Earlier it was 113.669. Now it is 13.546. Maybe not closer to pole position, but still pulling away from Seppi. Seppi and Diabet, both the drivers, are currently in the 113s so far. Out of the 7 drivers we have at the time on the board. 2 in the 114s, 1 in the 115s, 1 driver without a time on the board. Remember, last time out at Imola, it was Reaper, I believe, if I'm not mistaken here. He was not really going. He didn't really do a lap. I think he didn't really do a lap a whole qualifying session. In the end, he came and took pole position while Ferric is invalidated. His lap will not be counting. Is it going to be Seppi whose lap going to count? Obviously, he did just last lap, so that will not be counting at all. Right there. So now 7 drivers, ladies and gentlemen, have got time on the board. Reaper still is yet to post a time. Reaper still is yet to go over the line to give ourselves a chance there, while Speeder is spun round and facing the wrong way, and he needs to make sure he gets back, and he might have damaged his rear wing there. He's absolutely reversed into the DHL barrier. That could prove nasty, because such of a reverse, especially on simulation damage, you'd easily damage your rear wing, and that could be their qualifying over. Because usually they're going to go into the pits. It's at least going to take 2 minutes minimum, or maybe 2.5 minutes to re-up their spinning round. The way they're moving, that's definitely indicates they've got their rear wing damage, or maybe not, but I'd say so. They have got so, and basically what will happen is that they'll need time to improve their rear wing, to change their rear wing the team would need, and then to find enough time for them to go out again after a after a repair of the wing. Might not be enough in the end of qualifying session, so they could be starting last, as Reaper is yet to set up a time on the board. Can't say much though because Reaper is yet to go over the line. Ferruki is not improving at all, so he'll need to go again. Well, 21.6 in the first sector from Reaper. How quick will he go? How quick are we gonna see him go right there? He's on a flyer. He's on a fast lap right there. He's went purple in the first sector, I'd say so. Would have been out in the middle sector right here. 50 point, rather it's going to be 51.2. Will it be quick? Will it be fast? And if it is going to be quick, how fast will this be? We're about to find out right here. He's going to have a spin. He's going to lose the car. And it is only going worse than worse for Gap Reaper here. We saw him not make many mistakes around Imola. I told he didn't really make any mistakes around Imola. But this is not really the way they want their qualifying session to go, because they were setting up a pretty decent time. 21.6 in the first sector, 51.2 at the end of the middle sector. So they could have at least had a decent chance to still be in the 113s with the drivers at the top. But not anymore. Not anymore for them to do that. What about Ferruki? He's charged up his battery. He's charged up and had his tires in the temperature at the end of that previous lap, starting to go into the 113s, and he'll do so as well. 113.817 to move up to P4 and ahead of Diabat, while Ferrio is going to go even better. He's setting up these times one after the other. 112.963. Gets the job done right there. Just about 2 minutes now remain. So all those out on the track pretty much should have their qualifying come to an end as soon as they come over the line. All those in the pit lane will only have a couple of seconds to come back out on the track. And as soon as they are back out on the track, they will have a chance to go again. Otherwise, if they do any late, they wouldn't really have much time remaining eventually to go to the end of this lap, or at least get to start a lap in this session so far. Scooter in P2, 113.5. Well, Ferrio's managed to go into the high 112s. 12.963 right there. Is it going to be Scooter? Is it going to be Seppi, Ferruki, or Diabet? He hasn't came out, remember, after his first lap. He did it very early in the session. And after that, he hasn't been able to do a lap, put a lap on the board, while Reaper is back out on the track finally. He'd be hoping for a mistake-free lap. He'll be hoping for a lap that just gets him over the line. With the time on the board, as long as he's not the last car, I think he'd be okay with it. But just trying to push a bit too hard. I think he's got the speed. He's got decent pace, I'd say so, but it's just the mistakes. It's just the consistency that he needs to look after, because this is what it matters. You know, usually while racing with AI, you could use flashbacks and all of that to cover up these mistakes, but in online that does not happen. And if you do a mistake, that's going to hurt you. That's going to hurt you for a while. Especially if it's a very good lap, if it's a very fast lap that you know was going to be very decent enough to put you near the top, or at least in between the fighting of these couple of cars. And Seppi's taking the checkered flag right there. What about all those behind? Diabet has been over the line and is invalidated. Would have been improving by over 3 tenths, and he'll not be improving by anything right now as he takes the checkered flag with his lap of 113.9. Scooter improves further, 113.1. So Seppi, who's not improving, Ferruki is into the pit lane now. It is. Oh, he's retired. Reaper's retired out of the session. I wonder if he's crashed right there, because that now will be only Dre if he could go faster than these guys, but I wonder if he will be, because he's got no battery right there. So he might just have qualifying over at the moment. That will have come to an end, and we surely have got to the end of the qualifying session now. So it was going to be Ferrio who takes pole ahead of everyone, with Scooter in P2, followed by Seppi in P2. Then it is going to be Ferruki with Diabet in P5. Dre in P6, Then it was Speeder who got out of the session, but still at the time on the board with 1:15.6. Then it was Reaper and Commander Rex. Commander Rex did set a lap time, but got disqualified, and Reaper could not get a time on the board. Kept making mistakes, and those hurt them quite a bit. And there we go, qualifying over here at the Spanish Grand Prix. They're at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. And everybody's hoping that nobody hits the ready button, so we'd be hoping for that. But these are going to be your qualifying results, ladies and gentlemen. Ferry on pole, Scooter in P2, followed by Seppi in P3. Ferric and Diabet complete the top 5. Just outside it's going to be Dree, Speeder, Reaper, and Commander X completing the top 9 of 9 drivers. Right there. I believe you'll have 33 laps of racing. We'd be hoping some great racing. We'd be hoping for some fantastic World of Election between all these drivers. And I'm hoping, so if not more, at least the top 5 should be fighting each other from start to finish. And as soon as we will see Reaper come back up to performance along with Commander X, these guys could join each other up as well. And as soon as we have a ready... as soon as we are ready, and as soon as we are getting on, it's gonna be right there. So let's go. And there's a bit of overcast conditions by the looks of it. We have clouds over. We might or might not see rain. That could then be pretty interesting for sure. While right now it is gonna be wait time for drivers to set up the laptop. For drivers to set up pick their setups up, for the teams to set their strategies, discuss everything out there, and we'll be back as soon as cars are out on the track and formation lap gets started. And somebody has hit the ready button. I think somebody for sure has pressed the start. I mean, unless we start like doing penalties for it, everybody's still going to be doing it. I know it's sometimes you could do it by mistake, but if there's a penalty for it and they get penalized for it, they get penalized, I think it has to be done. Otherwise, everyone one or the other week is going to be doing it. So the only way to prevent, in my opinion, would be to simply penalize these guys, because there's no other way to prevent it. Now look at these starters then. Only 3 drivers on a set of mediums right here, with Ferios, Seppi and Reaper down in P8. Well, everybody else is on a set of soft compound tires, so the strategies would be either soft, medium, or medium, hard, or even medium, soft. Could be the case as well, while everybody's now weaving around to get themselves and get their tires up to temperature, while the soft tire of Scooter could well give a challenge to the medium of Ferrui at the start. Ferio, we should say, but we're just getting to the end of this lap, and we're going to be making sure what happens and who's going to be the driver leading up to turn 1. Who do you think will lead? Is it going to be Ferio who's on pole? Will it be Scooter, Seppi, Ferrucchi, or even Diabet all the way from P5? are about to get started. The lights are on. Ferry on pole with Scooter in P2. It's going to be 5 lights out, and we go racing here the Spanish Grand Prix. And as I said, all the soft tyres runners are going to be on the medium tyres, while Scooter already ahead of Ferrui in a turn 1 and leads the Spanish JP. Or Valferrio is going to come back at him around the outside. They slightly make contact. It's going to be Ferrugi who gets past all of these guys. Valferrio has lost out a couple of positions on that medium tyre. Valferrugi now Dries in P4 as well, but Seppi has lost out on the medium tyre as well. Oh, he's going to go wide. He's going to go very wide out there on the exit of the right ender, and that could have been nasty. Pretty much just saved it, I'd say. Well, Ferrugi's made a mistake as well. Aggressive starts, aggressive driving from all these drivers, while Diabet is down in P9 as well. Gap Reaper's got up to P6. He's gained a couple of positions right there. Well, Commander X is in P5 as well. These guys have gained a couple of positions, but now Ferrio and Scooter, all these guys are going to be in to have some fun right there and give us some racing action at the top of the table, while Scooter has pulled away over 1.2 seconds already, and we're only coming to the end of lap 1 there. Well, Commander X is going to have to defend from Reaper. Reaper's 410s behind Commander X, even without the DRS being enabled. The rear wing, without being the rear wing open, while the drivers at the back are making mistakes. Reaper, who made very many mistakes in qualifying, is going to try and recover all of those in the race. He can't quite go for the move, but he certainly will be trying to do so later. Well, by the looks of it, Ferrugi might have made another mistake once more. We're into lap 2 out of the race, so a 2-stop race, unless somebody tries to do the unorthodox, but also it could be more or less stops depending on somebody's strategy and depending on the safety cars as well, which could happen. Well, Reaper now, in fact, he was at one point trying to get past. In fact, yeah, he's actually ahead of it. It is Diabet who's right behind Seppi out there. Well, it's going to go around the outside. He might get the move done, despite both of them being on different tires. The medium tires still have not clocked in. The medium tires still maybe not performing as good as the soft tire there, and Seppi's more definitely struggling overall in the tires right there, and Bet gets past him, while Reaper, who tried it on the previous lap without a DRS, couldn't get successful with the rear wing open this time. He does get successful, gets up to P5 and gets a job done, and Seppi now overtakes Diabet as well, so maybe there, just maybe, Seppi would have let him get past on purpose so that he would have the DRS. You never know though, as he runs a little bit wide, so definitely Diabet struggling right here as well. He got that one lap above 1:13.9, but definitely, most definitely, he'd be struggling as well. So most certainly, well, lap 3 out of 33 has got us started. Our race leader is over 2 seconds ahead of Ferrio. So Ferrio just definitely being on the medium tire, but I don't think the medium tire you'd have that much of a tire difference between drivers. Well, Dree has got Speedo right behind him, 7/10 separating the two drivers. Speedo might have the opportunity with a rear wing on his car, but he will not have that rear wing open as the gap jumped over 1.1 seconds between the two drivers at the detection point zone. Ooh, that could be interesting. Somebody's made a mistake and Reaper's retired. Mr. Gap Reaper has retired while Diabet comes into the pit, and Reaper's weekend goes from bad to worse. He had recovered it up to P5 almost from P9, and he's now back in P9 despite, in fact, he's out of the race, so that does not even matter wherever he is. Well, Seppi's now going to have to fight Ferrugi with Diabet into the pits to get himself a set of the hard compound tire, which I don't think he's going to go 13 laps on these hard, so that won't be his one and only stop in this race, but still, that should just see him enough. That should see him just do enough laps to go to the end, to go to do the most part of this race. I'd say if they're to do 15 laps, that should see him, at least I'd say, if he's able to go towards lap 20, lap 21, he'd just do enough to finish this race on a set of medium. So soft, medium, hard could be a nice strategy. But still, let's see, I think, how many laps are these drivers going to be doing, because, you know, only within a couple of laps now are we going to get to the first pit stops from the soft tyre runners. Diabet did it, but I'd say that was more over a pit stop because of the front wing damage rather than needing new tyres. Well, Scooter still leads over 3.3 second. Five laps in, and pretty much with Reaper out of this race, it looks like the gaps are now for getting to a close, and pretty much we're getting to a stable start in this race so far. Obviously, we're only 5 laps in, so don't expect it to stay the whole race like this. I'm sure it'll go down. Especially when those soft tires get out of grip. Ferrio will catch up to Scooter, and he'll catch up to Scooter rapidly, and that'll come up in a flash. 3.1 seconds now between the two. Still just doing enough as Scooter so far to keep him ahead behind him on that soft tire. And if he's just able to try to stop tire after lap 9 and lap 10, that could be interesting, because as I was seeing in the previous race, interestingly, somebody's left, and okay, we are in. Alright, Reaper's left, so that's actually Reaper who would have been the host. I would have thought that maybe we are losing it, but thankfully we are not. Which is a good sign right here. Hopefully the stream and everything is looking okay as well to watch. And for all of you to have fun right on your screens while we have Ferrio in P2 so far. 3.5 seconds, so the soft tire is only getting better than at the moment, unless Ferrio is not really having the best of races right now, because now Scooter leads ahead of Ferrio in P2 with Dree in P3 with nobody even bothering to come near him, while Speeder is also 2.7 seconds ahead of Commander X in P4, Commander in P5, while we're seeing moves being made, but I'd only assume that Ferruki has made an expensive mistake, and only that has allowed Seppi to get past him into P6 with Diabet down in P8, and he'd only get past a couple of these drivers, while the soft tire should be now coming to an end. Speeder has decided to come into the pits after doing 6 laps on these, while nobody else is yet pulled the trigger on those soft tires. So if they're able to do 7 laps on these tires, that'll be a brilliant one, because that automatically means you'd be able to do a minimum of 10 to 12 laps on these medium tires, and obviously 2 to 3 more laps more than on the hard tire. Then the soft tire. Diabet doesn't come into the pits, obviously they don't need to, while only a safety car at the moment looks that could get the guys get closer, unless the top 2 could pull the trigger, especially Ferrio, who could push a little bit more, get better, get further away from all these drivers, and give himself a chance of getting better, give himself a chance of moving forward in this Grand Prix and getting closer to the soft tire runner of Scooter. But I think you could have said the soft tire is still going strong, but I'd say the soft tire should now be starting to degrade. Are we going to see, is Dree going to come into the pits? Are they coming? No, in fact, they're still continuing. So unless Speeder has lost his tires or just a bit overdid them, nobody else is yet pulling the trigger, and nobody's yet to decide in the pit so far. Commander X has done so. So definitely now I'd say, if Ferrio had the speed, or if only it was the tire deficit that was keeping them behind, they would have caught up to Speeder. To Scooter long time ago. Well, it's not. It hasn't done so. So that only means that They're not yet getting closer to it at all. While looking at this, Ferruki in P8. Right now, Diabet in P7 with Commander X in P6. Remember, the bottom 3 have pitted in this along with Speedor, so the bottom 4 has pitted. And the top 4 still is going at it. Well, these two, the fight we would have been looking for. Diabet being 4-lap older tires, he'll be on. While Commander X is on brand new medium tires, the cold tires. Those who the tires wouldn't have even warmed up right now. While steaming hot temperatures, hot tires are gonna be on, and right behind the car of Commander X, we could well see an overtake from Diabet, who has stayed pretty much on his own and in a race of his own so far, while Scooter and Ferrio both are still going at it. Somebody's lacking, and I believe it was Commander X who was lagging a little bit, maybe. Well, now the DRS will be opening, and after a long time in this race, we'll finally see the DRS wing open and the extra speed taken by the driver, but I don't think it'll be enough. Or will it be, though? Will Diabet send it? No, he will not. I think that would have been the only sensible option right there to do, because otherwise it could have been a disaster. It would have been a very, very big disaster right there. Because, you know, it could change things right here, but I think for Diabet, it's not going to be much difference. While Scooter now finally comes into the pits after doing 10 laps on these soft tires. 10 laps is a mighty good time, so definitely that indicates that it's a harder tire compound that we have for this weekend, because some laps, you know, it would be the C3 compound that'll be the soft, C2 would be the medium, and C1 would be the hard. Oh no, or it might be actually opposite, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, C3 would be the hard, C3 might be the soft, C4 would be the medium, and C5, I believe, if the Zigs or however the tire compounds are or not. I don't remember it in the top of my mind, but it's basically at one weekend what would be the hard tire could be the soft tire of the other, so it could be the case around here, I believe. So, well, there might be another opportunity, and there might be another drivers who we'd see fight for racing and fight for overtakes. Well, Commander has lost the car completely and sees himself lose it while trying to fight one of the drivers ahead, and he's lost a piece of his front wing, which would definitely make him come into the pits very soon. Definitely soon enough at the end of this lap, because it is going to be very tricky for him to drive on that, while Scooter is already right behind Dree, who's straight out a lap longer than Scooter has, and Scooter will get past Dree. Will he, though? Because they're still kind of keeping it together. Narrowly takes his front wing, but Dree knew it was time to come into the pit. And where is Ferruio? He's just coming into his pit box now, and you know it was going to work, and indeed it does work, as Scooter gets back into the lead of this race and has undercut Ferruio for the lead of this race. And now this makes it interesting. It makes it very interesting for this race right there, because, you know, in the championship, it was Felix leading a couple of weeks ago. He did not show up last week, lost the lead to Reaper, and now Reaper's out of the race. And the next driver to these guys is Scooter. He's on 75 points, though, so that could be the case. Or no, that'll be brilliant for him. He'd be on 100 points then. He'd be at the end of this race, as long as he's able to win and keep that race lead and get 25 points of this week. He'd have 100 points and 7 points ahead of Reaper, who is unable to score anything at the end of this week, at the end of this race. Obviously, he's unable to make any impacts because of, unfortunately, getting out of this one. But he made a couple of mistakes, and I think that pressure would have kept up, would have caught up to him. While Ferruio has overtaken Seppi as well. Are these guys teammate? I'm not sure, though. I believe these guys would be teammate. Ferruio, Scooter, and Reaper would have been their teammate as well, but he's out of this race. But it was only an exception. we're told, for one single week, and moving forward it'll be different teams and different drivers. At least it won't be the same drivers in the same teams. Moving forward right now, so Scooter's back into his leads by 9 seconds to Fario, unless he catches up on those hard tires, but I don't think so, because the medium tire is going to be very soft. The medium tire obviously would be a lot better and the softer compound than the harder tire, so that would make it very easy for Scooter to pull away. If he is to pull even further away from the heroics of Faroui, which he unfortunately hasn't been able to show in this race while he was fastest in qualifying. Pretty much one third of this race in lap 13 out of 33. Well, Seppi now on the set of medium tires has pulled the trigger after doing 12 laps on these tires, and that would allow Speeder to take up the position. So will Dree, but the drivers would get past him. Dree would have just been on the previous lap as well, I believe. So having done 12 laps on these tires, Faruqi's now got a 3-second time penalty. Actually, surprised enough, only one driver has got the penalty in this race so far. As we just say that, it'll be Commander who's going to get it in the exact second. While we're talking about drivers, only one of the drivers getting that 3-second time penalty. There could be something interesting, and one thing will most certainly be interesting is going to be Dree now getting closer to Speeder with each passing lap, each passing corner. The 4-lap tire deficit between the two is going to work out right there. While Dree is going to be on his 3rd lap on this tyre, Speeder will be on his 7th lap on this tyre. So that could work on to play. I mean, definitely for Speeder, it's going to be nice, even if he gets a P4. But a fight for P3 is now on, and is going to be on even at the end of this race. While Diabet currently in P5, he's most certainly going to be getting out of the way, but when he pits again, but even if he doesn't, the racing's going to be on. And at one moment, we had drivers not even within a second of each other. We might have overtakes and moves happening right there. Dree is right behind Speeder. Speeder already moves to the inside line to defend. Will he switch up back to the racing line to defend? But to get it again, he's going to try and push him all the way to the left-hand side. He definitely does do everything he can to defend, and he certainly has done so far. But can he keep it doing so? Because once more, Dree's going to try and come back at him to get the move done into P3, but he's not able to do that just yet. And I think Speeder there just did absolutely well done. I'd say maybe you could argue that he moved a little bit, but I think he pretty much stayed where he was and simply pushed him a little bit towards the right hand side, which would have only made it difficult for Dree to overtake, and he's unable to do that, at least for right now. One more DRS, one more opportunity. Well, the rear wing will open, but he's not close enough. He's further away, but now both the drivers haven't got much battery, both the drivers haven't got much life left in that ERS so far, but that DRS extra speed could be interesting. I think what Dree did wrong there was, he saw Speeder defending the inside line. He should have easily and straight up went to try and make the move around the outside. I know it was going to be difficult to make it around the outside, but now look at this. Since Speeder's moved to the inside, he can't overtake him. Yes, look at that, the way he's gaining. He's not even gaining the slipstream. The Speeder goes defensive on the inside line. Dree's going to try and make the move around the outside, and he's absolutely going to smash it onto the side of him there. And that was a mistake, and that certainly has played it up there, while Diabet has now caught up to Dree there, the mistake of Dree, and that's only going to make it easy for Speeder. I'd say Speeder stayed where he was, and Dree pretty much went into him, unless we have to hear stewards say on this one later after the race. But now Seppi and Faruqi are closer to each other there as well. All is playing, all is happening there. Well, Diabet has done over 11 laps on these hard tires. You'd expect him to do at least 3 to 4 more laps, considering 12 laps have been done by a driver on the medium, so the hard tire should go even better. And somebody at the top has lost the car, and it is Scooter who's lost the car. And out of nowhere, he's gonna get to P2. And it wasn't the heroics of Ferrui who got him closer, who got him ahead of Scooter, but it was the mistakes and that he created by himself. Scooter certainly lost it on the exit of the final corner into the gravel. Is now over 10 seconds behind Ferrui in the lead, while Diabet will get past 3 as well. 3 after a mistake bumping into Speeder. Has lost the car. He's lost the time. He's certainly lost the time to he's lost the time to Speeder, but he's now also lost the time to lost the time to Diabet as well. Diabet's overtaking him. Maybe, just maybe, a chance would still be up. Would still be open for Dree to overtake Diabet, or at least have a chance at him. But at least not so far, and Scooter's lost out. He's lost out massively, and he's struggling. He's definitely struggling. The man who was leading the race by over 10 seconds at one point. I think this is more than front wing damage. He might have rear wing damage, or he could have also have side pod damages as well. Unless, I'm not sure what happened there, though, because he wasn't even racing somebody. He was racing on his own. And all you know is he's lost it. He hasn't got the front wing damage on his car, so he's maybe just struggling. Maybe those tires are overheating, or he's just overused them. Well, now there's going to be a chance for Seppi to get past Scooter there. Scooter and Ferrucchi, while Diabet will get... Okay, that's going to be Speeder coming into the pit. That's only the reason how Diabet is going to be overtaken and getting past him right there. Now the opportunity will be not one but 2 drivers overtaking one or the other, 3 trying to go for it, while Scooter's going to be in the pressure from Seppi. Seppi's going to be in the pressure from Ferrucchi. Seppi does brilliant to go around the outside and make the move, while Scooter as well, Dree and Diabet is going to make sure to defend. It nearly makes contact while trying to come back on the outside line, but Seppi just does enough, or does he though, because Ferrucchi now is going to swing past him on the inside line. Seppi might try and come back at him though. Ferrucchi runs a little bit wide, and it's going to be Seppi who gets through and back into P5. What a move. He just had to do nothing, just stay there, the old switcheroo, and Ferrucchi runs wide, and Seppi gets past him, up back into P5. Scooter, I'm not sure whether he actually made it difficult or brake checked him. We'd only know after we've watched the onboard and everything, but... brilliant move. Diabet, who is on over. Ooh, that's going to be a bit of a mistake from Dree. He's not pitted yet on his second stop. While Speeder has actually made a second stop as well, I believe. Yes, he has. So that's going to be pretty difficult for him, along with Commander Rex. Being on a soft tire, how would you make sure of what you want to do? And by the looks of it, Ferrucchi might have run a little bit wide once again. 9 laps at the end of this lap. It'll be 10 laps on these mediums, but he's definitely struggling unless he has something damaged that we don't see. Still, the damage is on. Damage is vital. Maybe it could be the tires though, because obviously you could say, okay, somebody's done this many laps on these tires and somebody's done less than the other driver, but still they're struggling on their tire, because simply the reason for that is it's basically the tire wear that depends. You know, tire management is an art. You really need to be a good artist at it. That's all I'm going to say, to you know, keep your tires in good conditions. And if you overuse them, if you simply have more tire wear than you need to have, you would very much lose it on. We're on lap 19 out of 33 right now. Still way too many laps remain. Still a lot and so much in this race remains for us to look at, while drivers are currently just cruising on their speed, while a couple of them making mistakes and a few of them on their own. Well, Fario, with that mistake from Scooter, leads the race and enjoys this lead by over 25 seconds to the next car of Diabet. Commander is now into the pits after doing 8 laps on those soft tires, and I'd assume that go interesting. They're going to go into a set of mediums. I think that's fine though. It's not really hard to do to do over 13 laps on these medium tires. Though it'll be just enough you'd be able to do. Maybe just might not have enough speed or grip at this end of this race that he'd need, but definitely I'd say the hard tire. We haven't seen many drivers use it apart from Fario and Diabet at this point, because the hard tire is just not going to be worth it, because as I said, it'll be the hardest compounds used for this weekend. So the soft tire is already going to be feeling like a hard tire actually at some of the weekends, depending on from race to race and from track to track. Well, Scooter's now right behind Dre, so definitely Scooter's got the speed. Scooter's still got the pace that he needs, and I'm sure he should be able to get back to P2, but getting back to P1, I think there might be a safety car required. While Speeder on the soft tire might have lost it here. He'd have Seppi get out of the way. Scooter should get out of the way as he makes the pit stop as well. Has he made another mistake? Because it looked like he might have tried and make a move on Dre, but he's unable to do that. Both of them just have a tire deficit, a 1 lap deficit of each other on these medium compound tires. Well, both of them are going to stay out, and the rear wing will be open on Speeder's car. Opportunity will be his. Chance will be on his way. Will he get the move done? Dre's going to go defensive on the inside line. He's nearly going to make him push him towards the wall, and he's almost pushing him towards the wall there. He's got the move done, but that might have been out of the box because Dre kept going to the right-hand side, which I'm not sure you could do because you cannot move while one is trying to overtake you. I'm sure you can. Obviously, you could choose the inside line, and then you could argue that he chose the inside line, so on the inside he still had space to go, but while they were side by side, you simply cannot almost make contact with him. Or maybe it wasn't as close as we thought it was, but might have been and only 10 laps. Okay, Fario has done only 10 laps on these hard tires, but you know why? Because he's 28 seconds to the next car. So forget about Scooter and Dre getting anywhere near him. So now he's going to go onto a set of mediums, get himself a chance to give himself a certain chance to get the fastest lap as well. While Scooter's now into the pits as well. Diabetes gets a 10-second time penalty coming into the pit lane, which they might have to take to the end of this race, while along with Dre is into the pits as well. So drivers are now in for their final pit stops in this Grand Prix. Very out chilling on the soft medium compound tire. Definitely think he could have kept going, and he would have made that hard tire last a little bit longer, but I think with his chances of having a free pit stop, it was only right he's going to do that. It was only right he's able to most certainly do that, because otherwise it wouldn't have really been a smart decision. While we talk about smart decisions, it is Speeder who's in P4. He's lost out to Diabet, but Diabet's got a 10-second time penalty, but I don't think Speeder's going to be staying relevant to these guys now, because every single driver he's got around behind and ahead of him has now made their stop, apart from Seppi though, because Speeder now could either pit right now for a set of mediums or stay 3 to 4 more laps on these soft tires and then go on to pit for a set of soft tires again. So I think this is where you need to be swift, this is where you need to be fast. Well, one man is really fast right behind Speeder, and that's going to be Scooter, as he's going to try and make the move on the inside line. He's just unable to do that. He tried it on the Dre on the previous lap as well. He was unable to do that, and same goes for him again, unless he's trying to hold back, unless he simply knows that he needs a DRS, so he doesn't need to get the move done there. While Speeder runs absolutely wide, that'll allow Scooter to get past him and get the move done without even a bit of a fight right there. While Speeder is in P4, anything inside the top 5 would be a good position for him, but will he be able to take or do that? we'll only find that within these remaining 11 laps, including this one, and 10 after this one. While Dree's going to go for it on the inside line. Will he get it done? That's an absolute delayed live dive bomb on the inside line off Speeder, and he's going to push Speeder a little bit wide. He goes onto the grass, comes back, and rejoins the circuit. Nice and easy, but the position will be lost, and Dree will be keeping that overtake just yet, unless he wants to give it back, but I'm sure obviously he won't be giving it back. Well, other drivers fighting each other will be these, and it'll be Ferrucchi and Seppi. Seppi's on brand new hard tyres, which I'd only assume that he's went to a set of hards because he didn't have the medium tyres available. Because in this situation, going for a set of hards wouldn't have really been beneficial. Maybe I think he thinks that, okay, those on the hard medium tires would have to take care of the car. You know, as I said, let's say Commander X was already 4 laps on these tires, and there's overtakes being made, and there is going to be overtakes being made. A Scooter does get past Diabet, and Scooter's back up to P2. Maybe he's not going to lead the race, but he's lead the race, but still going to get it back up to P2. Well, Ferrucchi will get past Seppi as well. So interesting. I think we're just doing enough. Pretty good so far in this race in terms of overtakes and entertainment. Well, Diabet, it all depends whether he'll be able to keep it close to him, or he will lose the car, the 2 teammates. Or no, in fact, I think it'll be Fario. Fario, Scooter, and Reaper would be the teammates, because Diabet's car is slightly different from these guys, but I'm not quite sure. I think we did have the indication of what we have, or who are the 2 teammates. We're pretty much just exempted for just this race, though, not for any futures, but just this race. And yes, it is 3 cars in the same team as Scooter. For exemption, I'd say Scooter goes up to P1, sorry, not P1, actually. He gets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and he's only going to pull away now. 28 seconds to Ferry. I don't think he's going to be able to pull away over 28 or 30 seconds on the race leader, but unless he makes a mistake, I think it'll be a very open position. And just like how Ferry took it from Scooter might take it back from Ferry there, which every single driver's now on a set of mediums apart from Seppi, who's on 2-lap hard. So also there was a couple of drivers. I think it was pretty much mix of drivers using the soft or the hard tire, but I think it was actually the soft tire and the medium tire which were applicable. This game has got such a weird, context of this race. It also depends from track to track, as I said, because of those tire compounds. At some races, the soft tire drivers wouldn't even touch the soft tire at all, and in some races they wouldn't even touch the hard tire. So they do all the practices, they do all the managements and everything to make sure they've got the best of things on their hands. While Diabet now gets another time penalty on their name. 3 seconds they had 10 seconds I believe they had already, and they get another 3-second time penalty, and that'll be 16 seconds in time penalties for Diabet, while it is Ferrucchi who's got 3 seconds, along with Commander X who's got 3 seconds as well. So 9 drivers started, 8 still running in this race. I take it, and I'd pretty much say that it is a pretty good one in terms of what and what not will be getting out of this so far. Now lap 27 out of 33. We don't have much laps now remaining. 6 laps at the end of this race. Sorry, 6 laps at the end of this lap now. This could be an interesting fight. Definitely on the track, it actually won't be making much difference. But ooh, at the end of this race, it won't be making the difference. Obviously, Scooter's Diabet's got a penalty, but still, actually, Diabet's even going to lose the P4, maybe P3, maybe, because he's simply over just about 9 seconds ahead of Dre. We need at least 16 seconds, so he might finish all the way back in P4. While at the moment, Scooter is still trying to stay and keep it ahead of Diabet, but we'll find out whether he's able to do that or not on the track, because sure, Scooter's has got the P3 because of the penalties to Diabet so far. At least what we have right now in this race, unless he makes a mistake again or Diabet makes a mistake. But by the looks of it, we might just see Diabet make a move, and I think it's only right Diabet makes a move, because for him to move forward, for him to make the overtake and probably have some free air and pull away from Scooter. Sure, he's not going to get the P2 from Scooter, but he might just try and get a P3 right there, at least from Dre. But I think what happened here is he could have, I'd say it was possible if he only had a 10-second time penalty, you know, if he didn't have those track limit penalties, he could have easily pulled away and easily had the chance to, you know, move on and get an opportunity to get this on. But at least at the moment, it's not the case so far right here. So, you know, if it was 10 seconds, he's already 10.9. He is already 10.9, and that's what I'm saying. Like, had he had the 10-second time penalty, right? Had he just had 10 seconds, one, he's already away, but even if he wasn't away, he only had to get past Scooter and then pull away those 3 to 4 tenths that he has remaining from 10 seconds. But at this point now, Faria's got a 3-second time penalty as well, but that's not going to matter. Diabet's got 16 seconds. He's 11 seconds ahead of Dre, though. Is he going to be able to get past Scooter around here? He's ever closer to Scooter. He's ever closer to him. He's closer as he's ever been. But Scooter is using all the battery he's got. So is Dre, Diabet. But he's just not going to be able to make the move. He was far away from him on that main straight. Maybe he started to use that ERS a little bit later. Or he did it at the very beginning. But it just was not enough. It wasn't enough for him to get past. Or obviously, he wasn't even able to get closer to him. And getting past is one thing, but despite having the DRS isn't strong around some tracks. Sure, I meant strong if he was close enough or within 5 tenths, and he would have been easily able to get past him. But for instance, let's say Imola is an absolute rapid DRS point. Like, if a driver behind you has DRS, even if it's over 6 tenths, 7 tenths the gap, you'd still have the doubt of getting past. You'd still have the doubt of the car behind you coming up and attacking and overtaking you, because it's very unlikely that you're able to defend even those 8 tenths with the driver behind you, with the rearing of their car open and the rearing this extra speed on their car, which makes it very difficult. What about the case now? He's going to have that rearing open. He's still going to have that extra speed. He's gaining, but still not going to be enough. Still will not gain enough for him to make a move, while others in this race are going on as well. We might get there, but have a chance at it once more. Take an opportunity once again, but will he be able to make it successful? Will he be able to get it successful? 5 tenths between the two right now. Another DRS zone will be coming up ahead, which could give it a chance. And look at that, while we were talking about seconds, it is exactly 16 seconds that Dre is behind, and he's only losing out to Diabet. So Diabet, despite having over 16 seconds in time penalties, might end up getting that P3, which would be ideal. I think getting it on track is one thing, but having over 16 seconds in time penalties and getting it. And now look at that. Despite the DRS being available around here, Scooter's gained. Scooter has gained out here and only gained better from Diabetic now with 1.1 seconds. So maybe we'd see, but there isn't much that is happening unless a bit of a mistake or a slight bit of an error from Scooter that allows Diabet to get closer. He's unable to at least make a move just right now. So lap 31 out of 33. The final 3 laps of this race now starts. Fario, the man who started and qualified on pole position, lost the lead immediately to Scooter, and he didn't have the lead for that first stint, and on the second stint when they won, he had the gap to Scooter over 10 seconds, but there came a huge error and a huge mistake from Scooter that allowed him to go back into the lead, and ever since then he has not looked back and now leads the Grand Prix by over 21.1 seconds to Scooter behind in P2. Scooter, who is also 1.6 seconds ahead of Diabet in P3, while Dre is 18 seconds ahead of Diabet. He's got 16 seconds in penalties, and that'll be him. As long as that still is 16 seconds, he'll be doing that, and indeed she should be keeping that P3, while Ferrucchi is over 5.5 seconds behind Dre and 5.4 seconds ahead of Seppi, so he's going to be keeping his P5 as well, I believe so, with Seppi 17 seconds ahead of Speedor, who is over a minute ahead, and far behind is Scooter on the track. Scooter's far behind, and he's almost a lap behind. So Speedor is not, it's Commander X who's far behind Speedor. Well, we got Preeper, the only DNF, the only driver that we've lost in this race so far, the only driver that we lost, and he was not able to get. He made a couple of mistakes, and he made a lot of mistakes in qualifying. Unfortunately, I think he had speed, actually. It looked like he had speed, and even in the race, he had recovered quite a bit. All starting from P9, final place, or P8, I'd say, just ahead of Commander X, who was disqualified. He made his way up to P5, or even he was about to make it to P4, but he just made a mistake and pretty much lost the car from there. I think he would have possibly, I'd say, would have hit the wall and wouldn't have been able to recover, and definitely that would have been his case. Well, out of the 8 drivers, 5 of them have got a time penalty, but pretty much as it stands, none of them are affecting each driver, because Fario, he's got 3 seconds. He's got the gap 27 seconds to the next car. Diabet has got 16 seconds, and the gap to the next car is 21 seconds for him now. Ferrucchi's got 3 seconds, and he's 4.8 seconds ahead of the next car. Speeder's got 3 seconds. He's over a lap ahead of the next car, and that car behind has got 9 seconds in penalties. So it's not much that you've got. It's not much that is remaining so far between these drivers. And now look at this. Right here, it is going to be Fario. He's going to come home to make over the finish final corner now. He qualified on pole, and in a dominant race victory, he's going to win the Spanish GP here in round 8. Takes the checkered flag over 25 seconds ahead of the next car. While Scooter, he took the lead of the race start. He kept the lead for a few laps. Made a mistake, lost that lead, lost many positions, but it was the recovery that all mattered in the end for him. And he recovers all the way back up to P2, and second place is going to be coming up his way. 18 points he'll take from this weekend. Diabet is going to get another penalty, and he'll have over 19 seconds in time penalties, but he'll cap over to finish P3 on the track. And despite having over 19 seconds in penalties, he has over 21.4 seconds to the next car of Dre, and that would mean he'll still keep his P3 while Dre comes home in P5. Ferrucchi finishes in P5 with Dre in P4, with those behind of Seppi, Speedor, Commander X. Everybody has made a brilliant of these 33 laps, and that is your race winner, ladies and gentlemen. Doing an excellent job to do what he can, taking victory, and gets the job done right there. And these are going to be your race results, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, Faria wins ahead of Scooter in P2. Scooter got started P2, finished P2. Diabet started P5, finishes P3. Started P6, finishes P4. Speruki started P4, finishes P3. Seppi lost out a couple of positions after starting P3, finishes in P6. Speeder finishes where he started in P7. Commander X position better than where he started, and then got Prepa, who lost the car, and he got out of this Grand Prix with a mistake. And these are going to be your results, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got to the end of the Grand Prix now. Hope you all watching really had all the fun, because definitely we had some fun, and definitely had a lot of fun right there. So it was all their scooters reporting some issues. But that's going to be the end of it, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, make sure to follow the Twitch of Cockpit Drivers Championship. And if you're watching us on YouTube, if you haven't pressed the subscribe button, press the bell icon to get these weekly streams. And we'll have, we should have 2 streams. No, actually, should be a single stream tomorrow if I decide to do so. Otherwise, it'll be the New Age Championship on Monday. It is then the end, then, ladies and gentlemen. It was myself, Zabi, bringing you guys all the action along with Cockpit Drivers Championship. And from all of us here, it is a bye-bye. Adios.